So why is this? Why do we tend to highlight the negative side of new technology instead of the positive ones? It turns out there are three key underlying reasons. And the first one has to do with fear. And fear is a much more powerful emotion than any other emotion that we have. It has a role in nature. If you're fearful, your adrenaline goes up, you can run away and save your life, right? And in our society, we are continuously confronted with negative images of the future. If you read the newspapers, if you watch the news, it's all about negative stuff. If you watch science fiction films, it's about robots becoming smarter than us, turning against us and wiping us off the face of the earth. Or a bit closer to home, robots that will steal our jobs. Physical robots in a factory, artificial intelligence in the office. And at the short term, technology makes our work simpler, better, more enjoyable. Because it takes away repetitive tasks, it makes sure we make less errors. But we judge that from a functional perspective. Yeah, that might be handy. But the long-term perspective, stealing our jobs, we judge from an emotional perspective. So, in short, we find it difficult to envision technology's benefits, but we find it very, very easy to feel the fear. The second reason is maybe the most important reason. It has to do with your frame of reference. Who of you enjoyed playing with Lego as a kid? You see some hands. Many of you, yeah. So did I. I still do, yes. That's also allowed. I also do. I like it, yeah. So what would you rather see your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephew do? Play with Lego for an afternoon or an iPad with Minecraft for an afternoon? Most people choose Lego simply because they understand the benefits, they've good memories, they experienced it themselves, and they know what it is. And when they think about a digital game, people immediately focus on what you lose. You lose the 3D movements with your hand, the 3D insights, and they are unaware of what you gain. Who of you plays Minecraft? That's 3.5. It's not a bad score. It's one of the most popular games in the world, right? Essentially, it's a digital Lego. You can mine all of the sorts of the materials you like, and then you can build, craft any object you like. And because it's a digital world, possibilities are endless. This is just one of the many creations that Jordan made. He obviously doesn't play with Lego, but he does a lot of Minecraft. And if you make a rational comparison, Minecraft comes out really well. For less than 10 euros, you have unlimited fun and you can do a lot more. But most people stick to their preference of Lego simply because we tend to choose what we know, understand, and like. And if you didn't grow up with digital games, we are often very prejudiced. It's bad for your eyes, it's bad for your brain, and worst of all, you can get addicted. And if you get addicted, you get in social isolation. Now, Stephen Johnson, one of my favorite authors on technology, he came up with an interesting thought experiment. He said, what if things would be turned around in our world? What if things would be different? So try to imagine, what if books were invented after video games? Yeah? So try to picture for a moment. Books do not exist. Newspapers do not exist. You do not read. But you all do video gaming on your smartphones. Every day, multiple times a day, and it's the normal thing to do. And all of a sudden, books are invented. And kids love them. And they start reading like crazy. What would we say? Well, there's a very fair chance we would say it's bad for your brain. Because a game is a rich multimedia experience, triggering all parts of your brain. But a book are simply words on a page. It's bad for creativity, because in a game you learn to explore and you learn about leadership. But in a book there's no other option than to follow the plot. And last but not least, it puts you in social isolation. Because gaming you do with others, whether they're next to you on the couch or on the other side of the world, it doesn't matter. But with a book, a kid would withdraw in his room for hours and hours by himself. And this perfectly illustrates that your frame of reference completely defines what you see. And unfortunately, for many of us, there is a relationship with age. And Douglas Adams, the author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, summarized it quite well. He said everything that was there when you were born, what you grew up with, you see as a normal part of the world. It's not innovative, it's just how the world works. Anything invented between 15 and 35 feels new and exciting, and you probably can get a career out of it. Anything over 35 feels against the natural order of things. And you are quite an innovative bunch, so maybe for you it's not 35 but 45, but there is definitely a relationship with age. For me, an electric car is a cool piece of technology. I get excited. My kids go like, yeah, some cars have power plugs, others don't, big deal. And now the bad thing is, if you look at how we organize corporates, it looks like this, right? And the average age of the CEO of large companies is 58. And all of the young people with a different frame of reference, they enter at the bottom and have nothing to say. They are not in power. And what happens? That frame of reference defines what you see. So we basically evaluate new technologies using an old frame of reference, because it's by definition old, that frame of reference, because it's built by experiences in the past. We look through old glasses at the future and then have an opinion of it, which doesn't work very well. What designers do is often a little trick to make a reference to that old frame of reference so it feels familiar. So the very first car actually looked like a carriage without a horse. And it took a really, really long time for this Mercedes to evolve into this Mercedes, the archetype car as we all know it today. And this feels like a normal car, like a similar car that we all grew up with. It feels safe, it's part of the world, nothing special. And then electric cars arrived. Because of the technology, you have way more design freedom. You could design it in such a way that it looks different, that it looks innovative. What did Tesla do when they launched their Model S? They gave the car a grille. It's an electric car that doesn't need cooling, right? No air can enter the grille. It's an aesthetic thing. It has a face, and because it has a face, it feels like a normal car, and we tend to forget about all that new technology inside. And only when the larger public embraced Tesla as a brand and as a car, they started tweaking their design and reduced it to a simple line. And in their latest models, there is no grille at all. For many people, the car without a grille feels less safe if you look at it in an isolated picture. But by now we trust Tesla and we like Tesla, so it's no longer a problem. But I think if they would have done this immediately, we would have seen way more headlines about exploding batteries, weird accidents, anything that could go wrong with a car, right? Now, an electric car, you can easily make it look like a normal car. And I can explain to you what Minecraft is by making a comparison to Lego. But what if something is so new that you cannot compare it to anything else? I'm not sure if you're familiar or you remember when the internet came up. We had no clue. We really did not know where the value was, what to do with the internet. And back then there were also people saying that we would start shopping online and newspapers might disappear because there would be digital databases, but those people were completely nuts, right? And even respected news sources like Newsweek created whole articles around saying the internet, bah, no, it will never be something. It's just a hype, it will pass. So when technology is different from anything that we've seen in the past, we find it very, very difficult to envision its potential. We tend to make it small and underestimate it. Now, if you add those reasons up, it's actually quite normal that a whole company or a whole industry or even a whole society looks at technological development in a specific way. Because the way you look at it is probably the same way your colleague next to you sees it, because you have a similar profile, right? So you get reinforced that the way you see things is actually the right way to see things.